स्पोर्ट्स तक को सब्सक्राइब करना बिल्कुल ना भूलें। आप हमें फेसबुक, इंस्टाग्राम और ट्विटर पर भी फॉलो कर सकते हैं। और हाँ, हाउसैट ऐप को भी डाउनलोड करना बिल्कुल मत भूलिएगा, क्योंकि वहाँ लेजेंड्स को हराकर आप जीत सकते हैं 2 गुना कैश।
Hello, friends. We have a special guest today, former South African all-rounder Lance Klusener and a current Afghanistan cricket coach. Lance, welcome to SportsTak.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Yes. My first question, Lance, in the last few days, a lot of attention has gone to cricket due to the political turmoil that is happening in Afghanistan. How do you see that?
Yeah, look, I think we're just going to need to wait and see, see what pans out in the next couple of weeks. Yeah, just unfortunate that we didn't get to play our series against Pakistan. We were really looking forward to that, but totally understand the circumstances. So yeah, let's just wait and see, and hopefully we can get back to getting on the field as soon as we can.
Getting on the field, but have you managed to speak to the players yet? Any of the players?
Yeah, I have. Not everybody, but obviously we've got people playing, in England, and they'll start picking up in the CPL as well. So I've got some players that are getting some game time. However, as a team, we're a little bit short of game time. I think the last time we played was against Ireland, back in the beginning of April. So yeah, a little bit short on game time. However, hopefully we can have a good build up towards our next series.
You spoke about the Afghanistan Pakistan series that everybody was eagerly waiting for. Do you think that because the series is now being postponed to maybe 2022, how has the players taken that, and has it affected mentally the players, because some of the players' families are still stuck in Kabul?
Yeah, we were really looking forward to that. It was a great opportunity to play against a very good team, and it would have given us a good idea of where we are and what we need to and what we need to improve on. I mean, we've got a good idea about that anyway, but just playing against real quality opposition would have been awesome. So yeah, that was disappointing. However, totally understandable.
Have you spoken to the board yet?
No, I've been speaking to the CEO. He's been keeping me in the loop. Obviously, all that structures is there, and yeah, we're looking forward to really just doing what we can so that we can get back on the field.
Before I go on to speak to you about the T20 World Cup, which will happen in the UAE, do you think that sports like cricket or and any other sports will survive in the country? Because it was taking the country forward, and now I spoke to a lot of players in the past, and they said that things will go for backward. Or what is your view on that?
Yeah, look, I mean, I think those players and locals are probably more qualified than I am to comment on that. But I'm hopeful that we can, Afghanistan cricket can build on what they've done in the past, and hopefully get better, improve, and continue to give the world world class players that have already come out of Afghanistan. So yeah, we're hopeful that we'll be able to continue, and the boys in particular will continue to get those opportunities.
So you spoke about the world-class players that Afghanistan have produced, people like Rashid Khan and Mohammad Dabi. Rashid has been tweeting and a lot about the present situation, and he has come out and said that he is worried about his family. Did you manage to speak to Rashid?
I have spoken to Rashid. Yes, he is he's our T20 captain, so obviously that communication is there. And yeah, as I said earlier, we're just hopeful that we can get the show back on the road and get back on the park.
Putting the show back on the road, how tough will it be for the players to focus on cricket mentally?
Yeah, I think there's always challenges. Back home, doesn't wherever country you're from. I mean, maybe a little bit more now, lately in Afghanistan, but at the same time, there's always been those challenges I think not just for Afghanistan players, but for, any sports people. There's always something going on back home or in the family or whatever that tends to take your focus away. So no, I think the boys, the way they've handled the distractions, the difficulties, in the past has been amazing, and I certainly am sure and expect them to do the same in the future.
The national team has not been able to play the matches before the T20 World Cup. Is it frustrating for you as a coach because of the lack of game practice and the matches?
Yes, it is. I think game time is extremely important, and I think where Afghanistan has been lucky is that we've had players that have been playing in the T20 tournaments around the world. So they've had the opportunity to pick up on game time that maybe we haven't had, as a country. But yeah, certainly as a team playing together, as you mentioned, it's been a while since we've actually played, and it was a real pity that we weren't able to get onto the park against Pakistan. But we'll deal with that. We'll have good preparations, and we'll be ready for the World Cup, definitely.
When is the team planning to regroup together? Any particular date in mind when you guys will reach the UAE?
No, not as yet, but I think it'll be important that we have a good couple of weeks in the UAE, taking into consideration our lack of game time, and it'd be nice just to get the boys together again, get that team spirit going again, and looking forward to our next cricket.
Afghanistan is placed in a group with India, Pakistan, and New Zealand. Tough group.
Yeah, tough group. Great, great opportunity there for us to spoil a party. We do. You're right. We have got a tough group. I don't think there really is a tougher group. There's some real good teams in the other one as well. So it provides us with a great opportunity to spoil a party there.
Mm-hmm. A lot of former players, including Gautam Gambhir, have termed Afghanistan as the dark horses. What's your take on that?
Absolutely. We're going to ask questions of any team we play against, and our challenges to them is to make sure they bring their A game on the day, or else they'll be in for a real battle.
A lot of things depend upon Rashid, because he's been playing a lot of T20 cricket, whether it is the CPL, whether it is the 100, and now the IPL, and even Nabi for that matter. So do you think the team is over reliant on Rashid and Nabi?
Look, I mean, they're great players, but there's 9 other very good and talented players and hungry players in that 11 as well. So it goes without saying, I believe we've got the best spin bowling attack in the world. And certainly, from that point of view, we're going to be asking a lot of questions. No secrets about the fact that our challenge really is putting a decent score on the board. That's something we're working extremely hard at. But I wouldn't like to think we're over reliant on them. Obviously, any team relies to some degree on their best players, and we know different. But I like to believe that there's a whole lot of other youngsters, a whole lot of other players in that team that are just as talented and also can turn a game given any opportunity.
While the Afghanistan team boasts of players like Rashid and Nabi, who are very world-class bowlers, do you think we lack somewhere in the batting department?
I think our challenge is consistency in our batting. We've got some extremely exciting batters in that lineup, and we'd like to see ourselves improve a little bit, I guess, in the consistency. We have the luxury of batting very deep, so that's a big plus for us. But if we can just become a little bit more consistent with putting decent totals on the board, whether it's batting first or chasing, that'll stand us in good stead going forward.
Who do you think will be the X factor for Afghanistan?
Very difficult to say. I mean, you mentioned those big names, but we've got some very good youngsters: Ramanullah Gulbaz, Naveen ul Haq, exciting young fast bowler. And then there's a couple of old dogs in there as well, people that, have been around the block, and that, will be playing in probably their second and third World Cups, and we'll be relying on that experience as well. So, yeah, if we can put it all together, we're going to be dangerous on the day.
Who are your 4 top teams for the T20 World Cup?
Look, I mean, there's no denying that your Asia teams, in the UAE are always going to be, a handful. Your India, Pakistan. Let's not forget, we've played a lot of cricket in the UAE as well, so we understand those conditions. And then all your usual suspects, out there that always end up doing well. It'd be interesting as a South African to see how South Africa goes in those conditions. So I'll be keeping a personal eye out on that. But don't forget Afghanistan, because we've played a lot there, and I think the conditions are going to suit us a little.
And the Afghanistan players, all of the players will be present for the T20 World Cup. None of them have said that they will not be able to go skip the World Cup because of the present situation.
No, everybody, I guess, should be available. I don't think we've, discussed that detail, but I don't see any problems with that.
Plus, you were also, for a brief time, you were part of the Delhi Ranji team as a consultant. You have seen the Delhi players. What's your take on Rishabh Pant's recent form in England? He's not been able to score runs. Any particular thing that you've observed, a technical aspect?
No, I haven't. I've really got a soft spot for him, as you said. Coming from working with him at Delhi, I think sometimes, Rishabh is just maybe a bit too impatient. Just sometimes just wants to win the game all by himself in that very over that he's batting. So, my advice to him has always been, just, allow yourself to settle, allow yourself to get in. And in particular, Test cricket, sometimes you have a lot more time than you think. But, what a fantastic talent, and really somebody who India are extremely lucky to have to fill those big shoes left by MS Dhoni. So, he's just I guess he's just sometimes just a little bit impatient, and but he's got great people around him and some great coaches there. So I'm sure it won't take too long before we see him back in the runs.
During your playing days, we saw a lot of aggression from bowlers like Dale Steyn, but the kind of aggression that India has been exhibiting in the recent India-England series, do you approve of that, the kind of aggression Kohli exhibits on the field?
I don't know whether it's aggression. I think it's passion, and that for me is very different. I just see him someone as it appears aggressive, but I think it's passion, and I just love to see that. I think the way the Indian team has evolved from, when I used to play, for example, I think the passion is there. There's aggression, there's swagger, there's presence, and that's just incredible to see. And that's why they're probably the best, if not one of the best, teams in all forms right now. So in their improvement and their the way that they've sort of jumped up the world ICC rankings is incredible. And that's because, there's people out there that, as a team, they're backing themselves, they're aggressive, they're passionate, and that's just amazing to see.
And the kind of pace attack India is having at the moment with the likes of Mohammad Shami, Siraj, Bumrah, Ishant Sharma. What's your take on that?
Awesome. One of the best attacks out there, and that's another great development that India have done. I don't think we would have dreamed of saying in the not too distant past that Indian team would probably have one of the best seam attacks out there, and that's great. And it just shows the improvement in the facilities on the wickets they play, because they've identified that to be the best team in the world, you need paces to be able to shoulder that attack when you travel abroad. So that's something that they have been doing extremely well, and you can see by their results. I mean, it's a fantastic seam attack, and they've got the ability to mix that with some excellent spin as well when they feel that the wickets will turn.
You talked about spinners. Do you see Ashwin being part of the next test match at the Oval? Because a person of Ashwin's caliber has not been playing test cricket for a very long time. Do you see him as a part of the Oval test?
Well, I think they'll think long and hard about him. Oval does get a little bit dry, and it does turn a little bit. We've seen that over the years. So I think if the weather report is showing a bit of dryness, there's a bit of dryness in the surface. Absolutely, I see him being part of that, and he's got the ability of getting some handy runs as well.
And my last question before I let you go, sir: do you see India make a comeback in the Oval Test?
I think so, definitely. Let's not write them off because of one innings. Really, I think it's just going to be an absolute cracker of a series, and absolutely, I think it's going to go right down to the wire. I think we're going to be watching 5 great days of Test cricket. Oval traditionally is a very, very good surface, and I'm thoroughly looking forward to that.
Thank you so much, sir, for speaking to us.
My pleasure. Thank you.
स्पोर्ट्स तक को सब्सक्राइब करना बिल्कुल ना भूलें। आप हमें फेसबुक, इंस्टाग्राम और ट्विटर पर भी फॉलो कर सकते हैं। और हाँ, हाउसैट ऐप को भी डाउनलोड करना बिल्कुल मत भूलिएगा, क्योंकि वहाँ लेजेंड्स को हराकर आप जीत सकते हैं 2 गुना कैश।